Hello, and welcome to the conclusion of my chat with Diana Gogan. Having reinvented herself after a successful yet unfulfilling corporate career, she is now a spiritual life coach and wayfinder. I just love that descriptor, Diana. She helps people find their way now, the way she found her own way. I love that. I'm María Tomás-Keegan and your host. This is part of my continuing series of interviews with brilliant and resilient women who have inspiring stories to tell and who are role models for the rest of us when it comes to learning to thrive. Diana shared her story of success, disillusion, and reinvention from a successful corporate business career to now helping women find their way. Hello, Diana. Thanks for being with us.
Hello.
I am certain you have some very profound and compelling lessons to share with our audience today. You and I have been on similar paths in that corporate career and behind the mask and wearing the armor, so I can't wait to hear what you have learned through your journey. That will now help other women. Please help us understand what those lessons are.
You know, I think one of the most exciting points is to be this far down that path. So, you know, my story happened in 2003. So I've got 16 years under my belt there. And one of the lessons that I probably didn't realize until years later that was very profound was the ability to let go of expectation. And that's a hard one. I still work through that, you know, today. And as I look back, I shared briefly before that transitioning out of that corporate career, and then I moved into a real estate career. And I was 4 years successful realtor. Then we decided to move states. It was during the downturn. I didn't want to go someplace I didn't know anybody and restart a career. But during that time, I began to feed my soul. I began to recognize the very large, passionate spirit that existed within me and began to express that. I learned, I took some coaching courses. I took energy healing. I started doing all of these things, and the idea was beginning to form in the back of my head that ultimately that's what I wanted to do. And so with this move, it was like the perfect time. You know, my husband and I both kind of laughed as we crossed the border from Utah to Arizona, is that we were going to have our midlife crisis. At that point, we had both left our careers and businesses behind. And, you know, I was going to come down and open a Reiki and coaching practice. And of course, through all of that, there was a lot of doubt, you know, the move, there was a lot of doubt. There was, you know, can I do it? And how am I going to meet people? And, you know, all of these things going through my head. But I had learned from leaving, the first big step of leaving the corporate job was to just start taking action. And some days that's the leap across the Grand Canyon. Those days are few and far between. Most days it's that little single footstep forward. Sometimes it's an inch, sometimes it's a foot, but it's just keeping moving forward. And as I look back, I see how from that point, my husband said, you have a choice to make to where I am now. Had I held on to an expectation of what I should do and what I should be, who I should be, I would have ended up exactly like I was in my corporate career. That was the model I had followed. And now, if you had told me 16 years ago that I would be coaching people, I'd be talking to people about their soul and their passions and their desires, that I would be have horses in my practice, which I love. That's a whole nother story. That was a 45-year dream that came true. But if you had told me that I would be coaching people using horses, I would have thought you were absolutely nuts. That's just crazy. So as I look back and I see all those different steps of evolution and how one thing led to another, has led to another and led to another, it has been the most beautiful journey in reflection. Living it sometimes is a completely different thing because we don't know what we don't know. And so that has to be one of the most treasured gifts that I received from this, is learning to go with the flow, learning to connect with my spirit and my soul, learning to give it a voice, and using it to help me navigate so that I know what feels right and what feels off. And to be able to not only live in that realm of feeling, but also to logistically and logically know from experience that those feelings are right on. They're dead on. And having that trust in that. So perhaps that second thing is really learning to trust myself and know who I am. I am a long way from knowing all that I am capable of and all of who I am. But that's what's exciting about that, because at this point now, I have the experience, I have the tools, I know. I have some ideas, have some dreams, absolutely. It's not like I'm walking blindly out there, but just to be able to let go of what it must or should look like and
Right.
see what opportunities come up. You know, it's like when you drive with your GPS. You plug in the location, but you have no idea the twists, the turns, the redirects, the completely, you know, sometimes it takes you completely off course. You have no idea what all of that experience happens between here and there. And that's really where the joy and the juicy part of that is.
Mm. Oh, I love that. I love that. You know, you said several things. Letting go of your expectations is so important. And it's so, as you said, it is so hard to do. And it takes courage to have a dream and not be attached to how it will happen.
Oh yeah, that's big.
It is
That's
big.
a big bet. Yeah.
It is big because we are conditioned to be in control of how it all happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a biggie. Letting go of our expectations. I thought about something as you were talking. I was thinking about the question you asked yourself: what if I fail? And I love to turn that around.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you couldn't fail? What if there's no such thing as failure? There's just a lesson to be learned.
Absolutely, and I agree completely with that.
And then you talked about taking that step. Being in forward motion will always keep us from getting stuck where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way you said it. Whether it's an inch or a foot, whether it's a toe in the water or you jump right in, it doesn't really matter. It's just that forward motion that will allow you to be looking through the windshield instead of the rearview mirror.
Oh, yes. And I always love that analogy, you know, of looking through the windshield.
Yeah.
Where you're going.
Diana, thank you so much. I think this is an inspiring story. I can't wait for lots and lots of women to listen to your story. I think there is a lot to be learned from you, and these stories can be difficult to share. So I'm so happy that you have the courage to be vulnerable and to share it with us here.
Oh, well, thank you for the opportunity. It's always part of the growth and healing, right? There's always part of that, something that I learned from this as well. And so it's been an absolute pleasure to share.
Great, I'm so glad. And thank you all for watching. This series of interviews is inspired by my latest book, Upside Down to Right Side Up, Turning Transition into Triumph. It's now available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback, along with its companion journal. And I invite you to look for it and share it with the women in your life, so none of us will ever feel like we are alone. Many of us have gone through similar experiences, and we're here to help. And I believe it's our time to thrive. So will you join me in that? And Diana, before I let everyone go, please tell us the best way to reach out for you.
In this day and age, there's lots of ways to reach out. A couple of places I would refer, if you're on Facebook, Fire Horse Ranch is my business page, and I would love to connect with you there. Fire Horse Ranch is also the website, or you can reach me at diana@firehorseranch.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching. Till next time, I'm María Tomás-Keegan.